I'm like, yo, you mad and you angry because your kids are not responding to the way you think they should respond to you. I'm like, yo, it's a process, bruh. Like, you've been gone for a few years. And I'm like, you want me to come and leave my crib to come here and work hard on you? I said, I'm willing to wrestle, bruh, but you gotta wrestle back. And I'm like, I don't need you to be perfect, but I just need you to play your position. Oh, what's up, man? We are back at it, man. Another week of From the Father's Heart podcast, man.
Yes, sir.
Yo,
yes,
man,
sir. How you been?
Yo, I'm good, man. I'm good, man. I'm excited to be here, ready to rock and roll, man. Love to share this space with you, man. So what's good with you, man? Talk to me,
man,
bro.
Listen, brother. There's a lot going on, but one of the things I want to really focus in on a positive note in some capacity is this conference that I've got going on here in the city of Grand Rapids called We Matter Now, which is just in the name itself, it tells you what it's about. But it's a new initiative, man, that two other brothers that run nonprofits, we all said to ourselves, man, we're going to come together with the support of you and the financial support and backing of United Way here in the city of Grand Rapids to support our initiative. So it's three nonprofit organizations: the Delta Project, which is the nonprofit that I run; Dondre Brown, who runs Young Money Finances, who supports young people and really financial literacy and just adults across our city and across the state. And then Henry Sapp, who runs an amazing mentorship program, man, for brown and black boys. We decided to come together, and we had three different organizations, but with one mission and vision, and that is to support black and brown boys in our city.
You see, I'm acting up. I'm trying to share it, and I'm acting up, talking over you. My bad. Hey, I'm just excited. Keep going.
You good, bro? You good? Because I'm still gonna chat about it.
Yeah.
So, man, this conference, John, man, it's happening next Friday, April 22nd. Man, we're gonna have probably over 60-something brown and black boys, 9th through 11th grade, in the building, man. And it's just going to be opportunity just for us to love on these young brothers, celebrate them, encourage them. And the theme really is about having a vision, having a voice, and having a choice in your life. And we are going to just really support them and helping them understand the power of their voice, recognizing the power that they have as it relates to the vision that they want for themselves, and then finding ways to continue to make good choices so that the life that they want to live through storytelling. So that's going to be what we're going to be doing, man. And it's going to be an all-day event. We have been working together. We've even put a documentary, so we've captured all this on video. So it's been, it's been a labor of love, man.
That's so dope, bro.
Yeah, it's been sweet. It's been sweet.
So
that's been what I've been on.
So when I get ready to do one this way, I know I can lean on you because you know how to put them together now. So now you're an expert.
Listen.
You're an expert now.
Let me tell you next year we're gonna hire one of them program coordinators to kind of move through it. But yeah, man, I've learned some skills, man. I've done a sponsorship letter. I've never done one of those before. So it's been a beautiful I would say an unfolding of men coming together, and then just busting through those narratives or stereotypes that say black and brown men don't work together, and that's just not true. It's just not true, brother.
Absolutely, absolutely, man, absolutely. No, man. So congrats on your conference, man. So listen, man, let's delve right into it, man. So tonight, man, we're talking about not being a public success and a private failure, bro. Right? That's huge to me, man. Of not being a public success and a private failure. And so many people, man, know how to win in life in public. They go on social media, they go to work, right, being this public figure, right, winning, like dominating their lane, bringing in bread, the whole nine, but they are absolutely losing at the crib. And and I want to talk about it, right, because it's important. A lot of times we lose our families for that very reason. We lose those that we love that are very close to us for that very reason, because we are winning in public. And you know, the thing about it, man, people used to have a hard time with people in the church, right?
Yeah.
People had a
Yeah.
hard time with people in the church, like, you know, with pastors and deacons and, you know, mothers and all that type of stuff, right? Like, you winning, you preaching, you can pray,
Yep.
you can preach the house down, you can speak in tongues, you can lay
Man.
hands, you can prophesy. And
All
then,
that.
you know what I mean? And then, you know, the children, your loved ones, they can't even recognize you. Like, yo, that's not that same person who walked with such, you know, grace and meekness and
Yeah.
humility and, you know, just so much, you know, just love and compassion. But then when they go home, it's like, yo, who are you? Like,
Yeah.
who
Yeah.
are you? Right. And
Yeah.
so I want to tap into that, man, about being not being that public success and a private failure. And I can tell you, man, is that as bad as I didn't want to be that, I became that, right? I became that.
Wow.
Because I can
I
say
mean,
one thing.
how how so? When I see you now, right?
Yeah.
And you winning, bro. You winning, and so how does it go into that space where he is publicly succeeding but privately failing in his family? And let me ask this too: do you think men know that they're failing at home? Do you think that you knew? Did anybody tell you,
No,
or were you just
yeah.
so wrapped into the work that before you knew it, you were
Yeah.
failing?
No, you know, it's a great question, right? And so I can speak for me. I didn't know that I was failing, right? So I was winning with my kids, right? So my kids were benefiting from that
Okay.
father who was so full of grace and mercy and, you know, loving and caring and all that. But who wasn't benefiting was my wife, right? And,
Mm,
you know, this was the thing, man. Like, she even, you know, played the role because she didn't want to feel like she was, you know, not supporting my dreams. She didn't want to
okay.
act like she wasn't supporting me, right? And so what I did, I was just taking her for granted, right? Like that
Mm,
was just how it's supposed to be, right? You know, I mean, I wasn't really showing up, and you know, I come home, she get my leftovers. She would get my
mm,
leftovers because I was giving so much in the community that she wasn't benefiting from like the first fruit. She wasn't benefiting from like that morning manna, right? Like, she
yeah.
was just getting what was left over. And so it wasn't until she shared with me what she was missing, right? What she was
Okay.
missing. Um, and I wish I could say, like, as soon as she brought it to me, I'm like, oh, let me just change. Let me get my act together.
Right, right,
And
right.
you know, I
Because
gotta be
we know
honest.
change don't happen that fast, right?
Yeah,
But
it
we want it
doesn't.
to.
And,
Right.
and I'm just being transparent, man.
Yeah.
I almost lost her behind it. See, people don't know that we got 20 years of marriage and 22 years being together, and people don't
Okay.
understand or know that, yo, there were moments I didn't think that we were going to make it, and it wasn't, you know, something that honestly that she was doing. It was what I was doing, right? And that was leaving her to herself, just taking advantage of her, right? And the thing about it is that we got to a place where we started communicating, and we realized, bro, that we both were putting expectations on the other person without
Yeah.
communicating what we both was
Yeah.
feeling.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
pissed at her, angry at her, not even talking about it because she's not living up to the expectations that I was thinking.
Yeah.
Vice versa,
Wow.
right? So I used to be upset because she wasn't excited about the Bible the way I was,
Mm,
right? And she's looking at it like, yo, you can get all gung ho, you get excited about reading the
yeah.
Bible, yada yada yada, but you don't get excited about the things that I want to do. So I used to get
Yeah.
pissed because she want to go out and have a good time. I'm like, yo, why you want to go out and have a good time? You don't get excited about the Bible. So it was the same thing. We were both thinking that, but never
Yeah.
communicated that.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
resenting her. All right, I'm gonna say it again. I was resenting her for wanting to have fun and not living up to my expectations of going through the Bible like I think she should have, and you know, almost imploded, bro. And so at
Wow.
that point, and at that moment when we started having those real conversations, I'm like, yo, I got to stop trying to win only in life. I got to win at home too.
So I think what's interesting that what you just shared too, Sean, is that she came to you, right? And she shared it with you. And even after she shared it with you, it took some tumultuous experiences to sort of move you into the space of like recognition and then recognition to like doing something about it. But how many men who are failing at home, no one is talking to them because they've completely just shut down and it's like, you know what, he doesn't get it anyway.
Yeah.
So part of me wonders like, what happens to the man who doesn't know he's failing at home, or do you know? I mean, part of that
Yeah.
is like, do you know that you're failing
Yeah.
at home?
And I'll speak to the question that you just asked, right? A lot of times, man, that your partner will share with you, but we just don't share. It's just like, you riding down the street, bro. Do you know? I know you know, but I just want to remind you. Do you know that when you see that yellow light, you're supposed to slow down, not speed up?
Right.
You know,
I
I
mean,
mean, I just want to remind you, right? Like we don't redefine what the yellow light means. We redefined it and said that yellow light means speed up.
mm,
And so the same thing, that there are signals in our lives that we
yeah,
know,
yeah,
but we ignore them. We
yeah,
ignore them like, oh, it'll be all right. It's all right until we get caught. It's all right until a cop pull us over.
yeah,
Right. So it's all right as long as she or he doesn't say anything. But we know.
yeah, yeah.
Right. And
So
so
it's all
that was my thing, bro. Like there was a part of me is just like, yo, how much can I get away with until she say something?
Ooh,
How much
that's
can I get away with? How much can I get away with of taking for granted my wife and her servitude and the things that she is doing just because she make it look easy, taking care of the kids, paying the bill, all of that type, she make it look mad easy. And I'm just like, all right, how much more can I get out of her? How much more can I get out? My dad told me, man, you can't get blood out of a turnip.
wow.
And I was, and I
Okay.
just got to be honest, man, that I was sucking her dry, and and I didn't feel like I was wrong, bro. It's just like, oh, she understand, right, without even giving her opportunity to say how she really was feeling.
Yeah, yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah,
That makes
you
sense.
get what I'm saying, and
So
that's what happens,
go ahead.
man. No, I'm just saying that's what happens, man. Sometimes in relationships, man, when we trying to be this public figure or trying to dominate our lanes in the community, and we just disregard everything, man. We just say, you know what, we redefine what this relationship should be. We made a commitment of how we were going to operate, but I just redefined without communicating, right? The rules was the rules. Like, yo, we took the test, and the driver's guy, he taught us, is like, yo, when it gets to yellow light, you slow down. When it's red light, you stop. Green mean go. And so
Yeah,
what happens when we was in the car with him, we kept everything 100. We listening to him. But over time, I redefined. I started driving the car without the governor, right?
right.
Governing me. And I just
Yeah,
redefined like, that yellow light. Nope, that means go. That means speed up. So it's the same thing.
yeah,
I stopped paying attention to her signals, ignoring
right.
them
Okay.
in the name of securing a bag. Mm.
Yeah. So okay, so we doing that because let's. I mean, I feel like when you talk about when we talk about men and we talk about family and we talk about the key thing that you just said, securing the bag, everything feels like it's centered around securing that bag. If you ain't making the money, if you're not producing enough of the money, then there is a level of inadequacy that is associated and connected to whether or not you even a man if you cannot simply provide, right? And providing means being able to have the resources and the means to make sure that you're taking care of your family. So that was where I landed at. I was like, okay, I'm the provider. That's what I saw my mother do. She worked 3 jobs. She was never at home because she was always working. Well, she had to overcompensate for not having a significant other, from not having an additional resources that could kind of bridge that gap when you are doing it by yourself. So I sort of took on that kind of thing too. And I'm like, hey, what do you what when my kids say, Dad, you don't love me, I'm like, what are you talking about? Of course I love you.
Yep.
You have all the things.
You
You
have
have
all the
all the
things.
things.
All the
You have
things.
all the things. And all the things that I didn't have. So what are you talking about? I don't love you. No, I do love you. And to prove that I love you, I want you to go into the refrigerator, open the refrigerator, and tell me what you see. So my son goes, he comes back, he's like, Dad, I see the OJ, I see the milk. And I was like, you know how you're able to see that? And he's like, yeah, how? Because I pay the electric bill. That's how much I love you.
Yep.
So get out my face talking about I don't love you
Yep.
because I give you the resources to be able to do it, and
Yep.
not really even realizing that what he was asking me for wasn't what I was providing. He was asking me for my time.
Absolutely,
He was
bro.
asking me for my attention. He was asking me for it consistently too. And I didn't understand that because I thought what I was supposed to do is chase the bag, get the money. And what comes with chasing the bag and getting the money successfully is the attention and the notoriety and people saying your name and
Yep.
people,
Yep.
all the things that I didn't have as a kid. Now I'm getting it because I'm secure in the bag. And
Yep.
it can become addictive. It can become it is. It becomes addictive, and you almost like are thriving to have access to it because it also gives you what you need. But it also there is a cost that comes with securing the bag if you
Yo,
don't have a
you're right.
balanced bag.
You're right.
So I get it, but I didn't know either. Like
Yep.
it wasn't like somebody was telling me like, hey Cole, this is what it looks like. It needs to look like. No one was saying that. It was
Yep.
just you just do what you're supposed to do because you're supposed to do it. And if you don't
Absolutely.
do it, you're going to get ridiculed for not doing it and not securing the bag. So the bag itself is I think the issue that we all struggle with, at least I'll speak for me, that I struggle with as a man in terms of trying to figure out who I was and my identity connected to it, if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Shakita, what's up, man? Put in the comment, man, what y'all got to say, man. Tap into this, man, about our topic tonight, man. Have you guys experienced or have you seen people in your life who are public successes or private failures? Like, what does that look like? And
Yeah,
what type of impact, what type of impact is that on the family? But you said something earlier that I want to tap into, right? Is that um, about how you handled your son right in that moment, but a lot of
yeah,
times, bro, is that we treat people how we want to be treated.
yeah.
And let me tell you
That's
something,
real.
that's
That's
wrong.
real.
That's
That's real.
wrong. That's not how we're supposed to interact with people.
Yeah,
We are
yeah,
supposed to treat people and interact with them the way they want to be treated,
yeah. Who
right? The way,
teaches you that? Tell
listen,
me that,
listen, I'm telling you, right?
son. Are you teaching that today? Because you was I didn't hear that 15 years, 20
No,
years. Where's my son? 27. Yeah, wasn't nobody teaching that.
no, not at
Where you get
all.
that from?
Listen,
That's
listen for real, man. Honestly, I would have to say, me personally, learning that, when I learned how to, I went through ET's training, man, and it was like this disc assessment and all of that type of stuff we was going through, and it was talking about it unlocked because one of the pieces it talks about how people like how you right, like how you operate, and it was talking about how people get burnt out and all that type of stuff, and what was happening is that we treat people the way we want to be treated. And so somebody who doesn't like being with people, or they take their time, we're trying to force them to be out front. Like I used to try to force my wife to be a speaker with me, and I'm pissed at her because I'm looking at other people having team ministries. And my wife is like, listen, I have no desire, homeboy, to
right,
be in the forefront. That's not me. That's you. You like
man.
being in the forefront. I don't like being in the forefront, right? And so I'm resenting her for that. But I realized through Holy Ghost and through training and it just finding other ways, hollering at E and different people, it's just like, yo, put her in the best position for her to be successful. What is her superpower? What is the
Man,
person's superpower? Put them in that place so they can thrive. Right? I mean, that's what we need to put people in a position so they can thrive. So I'm trying to force her to be who she's not. And
yeah,
she's like, yo, no, let me play my position. So I realized even with my children, I'm like, oh, I need to discover your superpower. and I need to help you cultivate that thing. I can't treat you how I want to be treated. I may want to get yelled at and pushed and pry all that type of stuff. Well, somebody else, they're like, no, don't handle me that way. Right. I want to be, I need you to take your time and communicate and, whatever the case. So it's important for you to rock with people and discover. What's up, Daniel? Daniel Command.
What's up?
He said, "Bearded here, I love it. I love it,
Listen,
man.
come on, yes, that's my guy. We
That
need to
beard.
get him on. We need
Let's
to get
do it.
him on here, definitely, so he can talk about our beards and what we need to
Oh,
do to keep it.
oh,
Listen, that's a whole nother topic. You know,
see. All right,
Daniel,
Daniel,
I
we
don't got
got
my
you,
brush.
Daniel. Daniel, the only way
Daniel, we
you get
bringing
on
you on.
here, listen,
We bringing you on.
Daniel, listen, you just heard me say you treat people how they want to be treated. Right? Remember this. You treat people how they want to be treated, Daniel. So when you come on here, I want to be treated like a gentleman just because mine is small. You know what I mean? I still have issues from when I was a kid being bullied. You know what I mean? So don't get on here trying to front. You know what I mean? When y'all try to sandwich me, have me in the middle, y'all over there with them big beards. So I digress. I'm just saying, Dan. I'm just saying, Dan.
Daniel, don't let him throw all that trauma on you, bro.
Hey. So Shakita says, so
Man.
folks, you just don't have a way of knowing. That's important, right? Like you don't know, right? I hope I'm answering it the right way, but you don't know if you don't ask, right? We don't know. Go ahead, please.
And part of that too, man. And I again, I have to I'm understanding children and recognizing we have to do a better job of securing. We so quick to secure the bag. We got to do a really good that job of making sure we secure the relationship with our children too,
Yes.
right? Because I've seen situations take place where children are. I mean, part of their growing is to be able to ask questions.
Yep.
And you know what? You have you seen adults when kids start asking too many questions? You
Yes.
know what adults tend to do? They'll shut them questions
Yeah.
down,
Shut them
tell
down.
them to stop talking. So I mean, it sometimes it's not even a redirection. It's literally shut the question down and stop
Yes.
asking me questions.
Yes.
And they see the adult get super frustrated. And I think over time, what happens with children when we do that to them, we ultimately put them in situations where they stop asking questions altogether or feel insecure with
Yep.
expressing themselves and asking questions. So
That's
I think
good.
part of what I had to learn how to do too is make sure I'm hearing my children and establishing that relationship so that when I wasn't doing what I knew I wasn't when I wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing, my kids who love me and know me just as well as anybody else, or even more, can say, "Hey, Dad, I don't like the way that made me feel."
Yeah.
You know, "Hey, Dad, that didn't feel good." And so I think I was blessed to have a strong-willed son and a son who, kind of did his own thing. But my strong-willed son had no problems with telling me what he thought. So, Dad, man, church is real good. You be in church praising God and all that good stuff, Dad. But man, we come home, you ain't even said nothing about God. I'm like, what?
I
So,
like it. You see what
holding
Daniel
space
say
for
here?
children to express themselves. What's Daniel saying?
I want you to speak to what Daniel said. Daniel said, hold, let me bring it back up, Dan. He said, as a coach and as a teacher of 14 years, that concept is so important. Every student, athlete, child needs to be approached differently. Adjust your personal. Same with my kids. All three are different, and that's
Yes.
real.
That's so real. It took me a long time to understand the power of recognizing that my kids were different and that they needed to be treated differently. And they responded very differently to different aspects of who I was. And so I found myself having multiple personalities just to be able to align myself with what my kids needed and wanted. And so, yeah, there cannot be a cookie cutter approach there. I mean, there has to be a
And
variety of ways that you interact with your children because they are very different. They are uniquely made, and they're humans. And so that's a lot of work. And then if no one's telling you this, and you're not reading this, you're not researching this, you're not all the stuff that it requires to be a well balanced knowledge parent, then you learn through trial and error. And that trial and error can have kids finding themselves in a host of situations where they need support in real ways because
yes,
parents are not doing the research. And again, one of the things I'm a big component on is I've learned over time. I'm like, man, parenting is the one thing you are not required to do anything in
Yep.
terms of educating yourself
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
You don't
Tell me.
you don't have to do anything.
None of that. The crazy thing about it, man, is that I got a dad right now, right, that I'm rocking with, and and my man got to a place because he's just coming back in the kid's life, right? Him and the mom beefed out. A whole bunch of stuff went on in the past. So now my man's coming. He has to be supervised, right? For whatever
Yep.
reason, he has to be supervised. My man in his feelings, and I'm like, yo, I get it. Yo, I have so much empathy.
Yeah,
I'm like, yo, I get
man.
it. Like if I was in that situation, bro, it'd be difficult. So I would have to remind myself why I'm doing this, right? Because my kids need me. And my
Yep.
man says a lot like, yo, she brainwashing them, da 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 da. I'm like, okay, that may be the case, but
Yeah.
that's the very reason why you should show up every single week. Right? That's the one reason why you should show up every week, because in the midst of talking, my man getting frustrated and he just at the point where like, yo, I'm done. I want to come back. I'm this, I'm that. And I'm like, yo. So now, now I got my fatherhood hat on. So I'm like, yo, listen, I said, let me tell you something, bro. First of all, the
Uh-oh.
reason I'm like the first of all, the reason why a lot of agencies fail, bruh, and will kick you out how you communicating right now is because they want compliance, right? They want you to come in and they want you to modify your behavior and you just be a good
Right.
old boy. I said, but
Absolutely.
let me tell you something, man. I said, I appreciate you doing this. I said, yo, I'm built for this and I'm ready to wrestle. I said, I come here every single time you're supposed to visit. I'm ready to wrestle, right? Why? I said, because I need to see who you really are, who you are in the street, of why you're supposed to be here in the first place. Because you can come here and you can be super compliant, super nice, and interact with your kids, but never get a chance to be challenged on your fatherhood or your practices on how you engage your kids. And I'm like, yo,
Yeah.
you mad and you angry because your kids are not responding to the way you think they should respond to you. I'm like, yo, it's a process, bruh. Like you've been gone for a few years. And I'm like, you want me to
Yeah.
come and leave my crib to come here and work hard on you? I said, I'm willing to wrestle, bruh, but you got to wrestle back. And I'm like, I don't need you to be perfect, but I just need you to play your position. I can't fight harder for you for your kids than you fight for your kids. I said, I'm ready to wrestle you. Are you? And that's the thing, bro. I mean, sometimes cats get it twisted. And my man said this to me, bro. He said this. He was like, yo, he was like, wherever he worked, he was like, yo, the kids love me there. There's a bunch of kids there. And I replied to him, I said, yo, they ain't yours.
Mm.
They ain't yours. Oh, so you want to be a savior in the street. You want all of those parents to see you as a savior, but you're not a savior to your own. Because you got to wrestle. Because your kids is not responding to you. They're not telling you they love you. They're afraid of you. They don't know you yet. You was gone. So
And
you ain't
again,
ready to wrestle?
no, because it's you know, like I know, it is much easier to have an emotional detachment from people than it is to have an emotional attachment. So it is much easier for him to detach emotionally from those experiences with the community kids because they don't have the type of pull that his own children have, and his own children have all. I mean, he's wrapped in those insecurities, that shame, that guilt, all of those things, plus the narrative that mom is saying that there might be some truth to that he hasn't really quite dealt with and unpacked, and then he shows up to you, which is even beautiful, right? He shows up and he unpacks emotionally, where normally you are supposed to keep that mask on. So part of me wonders too how much he trusted you in that space to be able to unpack some of that emotionally, so that you can move in the direction that you move in to help move
Yes.
him and gather him forward. But I could totally see, which is why I think people sometimes thrive better in when it in public, because there is not a huge emotional attachment that is attached to family that leads to
Yes.
all those emotions underneath it. So, woo, man, that's
And
that's the work right there.
yeah, bro. And this is the thing,
That's the
man.
work.
And I didn't want to open up the door yet, But what
Yeah.
he disclosed to me, and I wasn't ready to help him, ready to unpack it, but he experienced a lot of abandonment
Yep.
and
There you
rejection
go.
in his life. Been
There we
through
go.
foster care, all types of stuff, people dying, the whole night. So it's easy for him. He like, yo, I'm out. I can walk
Yeah.
away. Why? Because he's used to abandonment. So it's
Yeah.
nothing for him to abandon his seed.
Yeah. Well, again, if we unpack that, even go deeper into that, you know what? He's been abandoned. He's abandoned himself. So there ain't nothing possibly that he feels he has to give. You know, that
Mm.
emotionally, because so many people have given up on him, and at some point he's found himself, you know, like so many of us have in our past. We just give up on ourselves too. So I don't have nothing to give. I can't give them anything because I don't have nothing to give to
Yep.
my own self. So
Yep.
it's all of that wrapped up, but then that's not what shows up. That's not a part of you know, that compliance that we want. It's not a part of the policies that's created in organizations and systems. And so that's the stuff I think we have to unpack when we're
Yes.
not talking about women and children. We're talking about men, and that men also have all these emotions and feelings and trauma wrapped up into their choices too.
Yes. Yes,
So
bro.
that's, yeah, man.
And
So whew,
and the beautiful
it's
thing, man,
layers.
what happens, man, before he leave, every single time, man, after we get done wrestling, after I let him get his stuff out, I'm like, yo, I appreciate you showing up.
Come on, man.
Cause he come every week.
There
He's
you go.
Yep, it's a struggle, but I'm like, yo, your kids and I appreciate you coming, bro.
There you go.
And each time
There
he
you
leave,
go.
he like, man, this is my last visit. And I'm like, all right, well, you just think about it, you let me know. Then he show up.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, yo, your kids appreciate you showing up.
Yeah. Yeah. And
You know what I
I
mean?
wonder how many times he's heard that.
Oh,
And in comparison to the times that he's heard that he ain't nothing, and sometimes it's not probably even people that have told him he ain't nothing. He's told himself that
yep,
I ain't nothing. You know what I'm saying? So
yep,
why should I? So
yep,
man, I mean, you're doing, Sean. I always say this: you're doing the work, and what did you call it? Wrestling. I mean, because
yes.
it's a wrestle to get
It's a
people
wrestle, man.
to, yeah,
I
to
told him,
trust
listen, man.
themselves.
I
It's
told
about
him, bro.
trusting themselves.
I said, bro. I said, this is my space, man. I said, I was born to wrestle. I said, in this
Yeah,
space, I don't want to wrestle on nobody's field. That real wrestling. I want to be on nobody's mat. I don't even
yeah,
want to wrestle with your kids. But when
yeah,
it come to
man.
men, I'm like, yo, let's get it in, bro. Let's wrestle. I
Yeah,
wrestle with you all night. Long as you willing to wrestle,
yeah.
I wrestle.
Yeah,
But if
because
you're
what
gonna
you're
tap
wrestling
out,
is yeah, because
if you
what you're
gonna
wrestling is go
go
ahead. I'm
ahead, go ahead.
sorry,
No, no,
Sean.
no, no. Go ahead, go.
I was gonna say because what you're wrestling, man, that I feel is the Father's heart.
Come
You're
on.
you're 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 wrestling that heart, man, and you
Woo.
know how tough you have to be to survive some of the situations that men have to survive. And the heart is the first thing to put a brick wall around. So you're chipping away at things that probably have been blocked and buried forever, especially when you talk about a man's children. And I don't care what anybody say, when men find out that they're going to be fathers, there is a part of them that starts to unravel. And sometimes over time, with the host of all the stuff that comes with it, they start to just kind of cement that stuff up so that they don't have to show that vulnerability. But children make you vulnerable in ways that you cannot even imagine, right? And so I think when I hear you talk about wrestling, what I hear is that you're wrestling to get fathers to just pull back and let the heart show. And that's powerful, brother. That's
Yeah,
powerful.
yeah,
That's
man.
powerful.
We
Yeah.
listen. We have to be willing to wrestle with others, and
Yeah.
most important, we got to be willing to wrestle with ourselves, man.
Facts. Ooh,
We have
bro,
to be
I
willing to
did it.
wrestle.
Bro, I did it today.
Come on. We
I
have to be
did it
willing.
today. I was like, man, let me go sit down somewhere and let me coach myself through this.
Come on,
You
man.
know, because I don't want to hear a TikTok motivational speech. I need to sit down with Cole Williams and I need to coach you through this,
Come
Cole,
on,
and get
man.
you through that day. And I think that's been one of the greatest lessons I've been learning too, is that man, sometimes I got to sit down and talk to myself
Coach me,
and love
coach.
myself and coach. Yeah, yeah. And some people see us, man, and they think, oh man, they just have it. I'm like, man, every day you have no idea. I get a thought that triggers me, and before you know it, I'm paralyzed for a second. And then I got to sit with myself and walk me through it so that I can just get up and get out the bed, or
Man,
not get in the bed, or get in the bed
man.
and say, okay, Cole, let's try this over and let's do this again. So, man, it's we all
Yeah,
going
bro.
through it.
Yeah,
We all,
for real, man. Because
you
you
know,
mean because the thing about it, man, you wrestling with yourself, then you wrestling with other people, right? When you're in the human service field, right?
yeah,
You mean before I came, another dad who I was rocking with, right? He said some stuff like the daughter, didn't call him dad, right? She was calling him by his first name. And I let the first, I ain't say nothing. He was like, "Hey, that's not my name. My name is Dad," right? So I ain't say nothing. He said it, nice. Then he came back the second time. She called him by his first name. Probably about 20 minutes later. Now he says it again, and then he was like, "I don't appreciate when you." He said, "I don't appreciate it, and I would expect you to stop calling me that," right? And so now I had to interject, right? So, the visit was over. And so now I'm talking to my man, yo, he defensive, the whole nine, right? So here we go again, wrestling, right? So I had to let my man know. I said, listen, bro, she don't know you. That title is not just given, it's earned. And I said, it has nothing to do with you, bro. She just don't know you. So that's why she call you by your first name. And I said, well, he's like, well, when I was a kid, if I would have called my parents by my first name, they would have knocked the teeth out of my mouth. I said, you know what? That's probably true, but that don't mean it was right. That don't mean it was right. And I said, this is the thing, bro. I said, through you continually showing up, she'll know that you her father.
yeah,
You will earn that title. And I said, this is the thing, man. When you do it the way that you're doing, you guilting her into doing it. Don't you want her to do it? I said, the biggest thing is, let's look at how your visit went. Your visit, how was your visit? It was absolutely amazing. They was laughing, playing the whole nine. I said, you ain't even focusing on how amazing your visit was. You're focusing on that she called you by your first name, bruh. And you missing the moments that you're creating. You focusing on the wrong thing. And see, that's the thing, man, is that a lot of times we don't have people in our lives that will hold us accountable and call us to the carpet. Like, yo, front and center, we need to talk. Just because my mom or my daddy did it, they spanked me and did it, that don't make it right.
yeah,
When you know new tools and strategies, so I'm like, yo, you approach it this way. You keep showing up. You will earn that title. I just need you to show up. Stop bullying her into calling you something that she doesn't feel comfortable. My daddy was in my life my whole life. And I didn't start calling him dad, bro, until I got into my 30s. I say it again.
yeah, that's
He
real.
was in my life my whole life, and I didn't start calling him dad until my 30s. And here you, bro, your child wasn't with you, and you think she just gonna call you dad? Nah, bro, that's earned. It's not given. Yeah.
That's that's a powerful lesson, bro. That's a powerful lesson to learn. And anybody that's a parent knows one thing parents do not like is when you tell them about their parenting.
Come on, bro.
I don't care who you are, what economic background you come from, what your your, your racial makeup is.
My man was
I've been
like,
working with
square up.
parents.
He was like,
Yeah,
square
he was
up.
ready. He was ready. But I think what you did for him too, man, is really powerful. You dispelled a myth that so many of us have bought into and preach and deliver, and it's offered and provided by programs and a host of community members and media, that your role is you have a financial role to play, and that sometimes showing up and being present does not have any real bearing. But the truth of the matter is, so many men have to learn, and women, moms and dads, and community members have to learn that the best gift is your presence. And so
Yes.
I think that
Yes,
gets
bro.
missed. That gets missed all the time. So that's powerful, man. That's powerful. You're dispelling myths.
Let's
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, that's
Yo,
good.
we got another one in the books, man. Y'all,
Man,
I just like
man.
wrestling. You know what I mean? You know what
Listen,
I mean? That's
I
what we
hear it,
do.
bro. You
Yo, 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 I'm
they
telling
say,
you,
let's get in
man.
this ring. We
Yo,
wrestling, bro.
and the crazy thing about it, man, I didn't know that what was my lane until I started working in the prison. And I tell you, man, I regretted, resented all of that stuff when I was there. And then
Yeah,
once I got in there, I'm like, yo, God, really? You get this is oh.
that's
I'm
it.
like, okay, here it is. And I didn't know, right? I used to
Yeah,
avoid all of that. But he like, no, this is what your purpose is, man. I'm sending you to training, right? I
yeah,
was in training. I was in a prison. Nobody saw me. Nobody saw what I was doing, learning how to speak in the prison, all of that type of stuff. Had my David moment when he was in the back tending to his father's sheep, fought the lion, fought the bear, the whole, nobody saw it until
yeah,
God called him to the forefront and was like, yo, this is my man. Right, it was in the
yeah,
preparation behind the scenes when nobody was seeing what was being done. And that's what, that's a word for somebody that's out there right now, man. Don't get distracted, don't get discouraged, don't throw in the towel. Yo, you just in preparation, man. My thing is that you got to continue to fight and build at the same time. Unfortunately, you just can't fight and you just can't build. The world we live in, you have to fight and build at the same time.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
And that's where it's at, man. Cole, we have had many conversations, man. The fruit that
Yeah,
you are receiving now, man, it was through those night seasons of fighting and
yeah,
building. And then that bamboo stick just
yeah,
blossom. It's like, okay, we here. But we know it's still
yeah.
another level, man. So yeah, bro,
Yeah.
I'm done. I'm done.
No, that's real, brother. That's real. I think people see us and they think, man, how you just talking about dads, bro? What you? And I'm like, bro, don't let this fool you, man. I've been doing this. I was plucked at 16, and I just started working and working. And I was plucked at 16, bro. So I've been a father since I was a 16-year-old boy, trying to figure out how to be a man and a dad simultaneously
That's what, man. Just think
without
about that.
without
Think
the
about
ruling
that.
of, yeah, man. And I'm like, for me to have done that and then found myself fathering other sons that did not have fathers, no, that was a lot. There are a lot of people don't know half of the things that I've had to experience and go through just to maintain my sanity.
I love that.
And just, you know what I'm saying? So it takes a lot of work to be a father. It takes a lot of work to be intentional about the way that you love your children, your significant other, your friends, your community. Like it's intentional. Nothing is
Yep.
just happenstance and by accident and you just
Word
wake up
up.
and do it every day. It's intentional. So,
Word up.
I just encourage people too, man. Just stay in the fight, stay the course, and then find people in your life that one can hold you accountable, but secondly can love you through it when it gets tough, because it does get tough, and you cannot do this thing alone. So, thank you, man. Again, Sean, this was another beautiful night, an opportunity to learn and grow,
Yep.
and we just keep doing this thing,
Yo, let's keep
man.
doing it, man. Yo,
Yes, sir.
until next
Yes,
time,
sir.
bro.
Oh, bro, we not giving them a whatchamacallit.
Hey, oh, hey,
I ain't got one.
you ain't got one. I got one. I got one for you. Is it legit or not legit for Cole to never have a legit or not legit? Let's see. Huh? Cole, is it legit or not legit for you not to have a legit or not legit?
Bro, that's not my skill set, bro.
Yeah. I just want to answer. Is it legit or not legit? I just need to know. Is it legit
Bro,
or not legit?
bro, what
Yo.
Josh at, man?
No.
Bro, you
Hey.
tripping.
Oh,
Bro,
Amy said
it's not
legit.
legit, bro.
Oh my God. Amy said legit.
It's,
Yo, don't be.
that's like,
Oh my gosh, man. There's
thank you,
not.
Amy.
Oh,
It's
Kenneth said not
legit.
legit. All right. Kenneth said not legit. Boy, you something else, man.
I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna
have
put.
one next week. Watch.
Yeah, I'm gonna put in the comments with them. Watch this. Boom! It popped up. It should pop up any second.
Wow.
Not
That's what we
legit.
doing,
Oh,
Sean, bro.
not legit.
Wow.
So I broke
I
the
got
tie,
you.
bro. I broke the
I
tie.
got you. I
All
got
right.
you. Next week.
Yeah.
Next week, baby.
Hey, till next time, man.
All right.
All right, baby.